Welcome back to sunny Muotathal. Another fantastic day building up here in central Switzerland. Welcome to the second day of the competitions of the ICF World Championships in downriver racing. The first time in 45 years that the Swiss Canoe Federation is delivering a senior world championships. It is a great pleasure for day two to welcome my host. He is here sitting with me and in anticipation of what is to come. Matthias Stob, member of the Swiss national team for 10 years between 1998 and 2008. Welcome, Matthias. How are you doing?
Hello, Jörg. I'm very well. It's very nice to be back in Muotathal. I remember very good times up here, and yeah, it's always great to be back here, seeing the scenery, the great scenery, the mountains, the river. It's always clear water, almost always, I have to say. Sometimes it's brownish when there is rain, but there is no rain today, so perfect day.
Well, but I can say for spectators at home, a real Swiss picture. We look up at the mountains as you described them, and we see snow. I mean, that's what our spectators out there on planet Earth would actually expect of Switzerland. A bit of snow, clear water, high mountains. What else can we expect today?
I hope we can expect a great Swiss team, if we want to switch to the sports side already.
Well, actually we can, the sports side, so we'll see the team events. So we had the classic event, so we, as we speak, we have the first four runners on the screen for our spectators at home, so you will not miss anything. We have got a few forerunners, 3 teams forerunning on the screen, and then we'll have a little bit of a break before we then have the official race. So bear with us. So Matthias, we have the team event today. What's the difference between a team event and the individual event that we've seen yesterday?
So in general, the team event consists always of 3 boats. In the individual event you have just 1 boat, so normally it's just 1 person. For the C2 obviously it's 2 persons in 1 boat, but this time you will see 3 boats, and they will form this team together.
So it is about teamwork, and do you paddle all together on the same line, or how is that working?
Yes, so that's tricky. So it's not that easy to answer this question. There are stretches where you will paddle the same line. There are stretches sometimes where there is a tactical thing to maybe choose an individual line for every boat to make the time as fast as possible at the end.
That's very interesting. And how would you do that? Would they have all raced in the individual event yesterday?
Almost everyone. I mean, everyone has to be nominated for the individual races, but sometimes you will see persons who have competed in, let's say...
I'll just interrupt you for a second. We've got the forerunners team here. We can see now, as you described, that Matthias, the 3 boats together, they seem to be very, very close together. 3 kayaks, sort of about 300 meters before the finish line.
Yes, now you see how they get really close again. Sometimes when it's very difficult and technical, you will see a little bit more of gaps between the boats, so you make this to make sure that there is no
collision.
No collision, exactly. Thank you. And at the end, it's of course it's faster the closer you are, because you can benefit of the person in front of you, and you feel kind of a wave. And this wave is comparable to like cycling when you can ride.
You're in the wake.
Yes.
You can draft. In cycling you call that drafting. Yes. You're in the wake, so you can ride the wave of the boat ahead of you.
Exactly. So this is of course not that straightforward. It needs a lot of practice, but riding this wave is the most crucial thing for getting a fast time in the team event.
So I think we're set up for a race here. This is, we get now pictures from the start. This is the first class today, the women kayak class, and we have actually the second team, the host nation Switzerland, and this team is led by Melanie Mattis. She's in the lead here. That's Melanie, and she came third yesterday in the classic race. She's racing together with Hannah Muller and with Sabine Eichenberger. So Melanie had a very good race. She opened the event with a medal for a host nation. How important is that for a host nation to start with a medal on the first day?
Yeah, you name it. It's extremely important. So like this, you get a little bit of pressure away from your teammates, and yeah, we hope that we can see some more medals now. It starts kind of a rush, I hope.
So the Swiss team, the host nation, is on the medal tally after the first day. Let's see how that unfolds today. We have a total of 7 teams in this women class, and they come in a particular starting order, and the best team comes right at the end. Is that correct?
Yes. So this is true, more or less. I hope that the Swiss will be better at the end than they are classified right now. So they started in the second position. That means they should be the second worst team, and I hope they will be much better. And this has to do with the fact that Sabine Eichenberger, she competed yesterday in the canoe singles, and now she switched to the kayak, and like this the Swiss team is not nominated and leveled that high.
That's interesting. So that's why the Swiss are ranked right at the end, or in this case they come right at the start of this field. The Japanese team, so these are pictures from the start, so you don't miss anything. It's a running time of about 13-14 minutes, so it's about 10 minutes to go until we see the first team with pictures, live pictures from the bottom. We are here just above the village of Muotathal. That gives the name to the river. I think I heard it's the other way around. It was the Muota River that gave the Tal, the valley, the name. So start is just above the village of Muotathal. We had lots of spectators yesterday. It was a public holiday here in Switzerland. Lots of spectators. We already have a few, but we expect a little bit less because Swiss people have to go back to work today.
Yes, today is unfortunately a work day in Switzerland. Most likely we will see more crowd again tomorrow. Yes, but they are missing something today.
Of course, so it's not too late for those who are listening out there. If you come from the region of Schwyz, Muotathal, please come up, please join us. Free entry, free parking, so it's absolutely family friendly. Come along with your family. There's plenty of space along the river. It's 4.4 kilometers in length, or just about 2.5-3 miles, as the team from Great Britain would express it. So the Great British and Irish team is here, led by Victoria Murray. She was 18th yesterday, Lydia Oxtoby 19th, and Louise Revel 23rd. So they were around the 20th in the individual race yesterday. They seem to start in quite calm, quiet water here.
Yes, exactly. So that's the great thing in the Muota. You have kind of a side river. It's just a small river which goes into the Muota just at this point, which you
and
see
now
right
they
now.
they join the main river,
yes,
after
exactly,
20 meters. Yes.
And that makes the starting procedure quite easy.
So the Brits, and you see there's a boat overtaking, coming from third position. Was that a plan? What do you think?
Yes, of course. I think that was a tactical maneuver. Like this, you can save some time. So the first person who is crossing the starting line, she starts the clock, and like this, when you have someone who is overtaking very quickly, you can save this time at the end.
Yes. So, and there is a rule. All 3 of them have to cross the start line in 10 seconds. But I don't think that is an issue. That's a problem.
Normally, at the start, that shouldn't be an issue. In the arrival, it shouldn't neither, but it can be a bit more tricky if there is some stuff happening at the very end, especially here at the Muota River, where you have the most technical part at the very end.
And you've seen, we have spectators, they've turned up, we've seen the French flag. We've got athletes, coaches from 23 countries around the globe, except from Africa, all the continents are represented. So 23 countries. Where are the strongest countries from in downriver racing?
Yes, I think it is a bit like in canoeing in general. So strongest nations also in downriver are Germany, France, Czech Republic. So these are strong nations. Great Britain should be also very strong for the moment. In downriver they are maybe not among the top three.
Right. So you mentioned Germany, France, Czech, and that's exactly the three nations we'll see now. We have the German team on the start line with Overbeck Alke, with Lisa Köstle and Sabine Füsser. So a very strong team from Germany.
Yeah, so they finished second in the last World Championship in the team event 2 years ago. So maybe they will improve today and go for the top.
Let's have a look. I mean, they're the third from last, so they are actually currently sort of ranked third, but they came second at the last Worlds 2 years ago. So it's not as straightforward. It's not just adding up individual results. There is a team effort. It is a team result that is coming together.
Yes, exactly. So sometimes you can see teams they have good athletes and they can really work together. They can benefit of the way from the person who is in front, who is leading the team. So like this, sometimes it's not just a mathematical game. So you have to see and how the race will end.
So teamwork is the word of the day. It's all about teamwork on top of being individually strong and technically versatile. So how difficult is it to race on this river?
So you mean in terms of team or just in
terms
general?
of technicality? So if what is it that each individual needs to bring? How difficult is that if you compare it to other courses in the world?
So I think it's a very difficult river because it is very there is a lot of different things you have to be able to do on this river. So you have parts which are more powerful, and you have a lot of waves, and at the very end it becomes also very technical. So from a physical point of view, it's very difficult because the waves, they make you very tired, and at the very end you have a very difficult technical part waiting.
And we have seen that yesterday. It's the famous Muota rock, the obstacle in the middle of the river, and the French team is about 12 minutes away from that very, very difficult section, about 400 meters before the finish line. So that's the French team: Claire Brand, Charlène Le Corvaisier and Manon Ostens. They just started, and in about 100 meters they will see the village of Muotathal. So a very tricky course. Final practice of the safety and rescue team down here. We saw them operating yesterday, got all the paddlers out of the river. Everybody who got in trouble, they got the paddlers out. That was priority. They got the boats out, the paddle. So that is a very, very experienced crew that is working as a rescue team at the Muota River. So a very, very difficult course, and the tricky bit is the most challenging bit, the most difficult stretch of the river is right before they get to the finish line. So we have the last team, and on paper that is the best team. We have the new crowned world champion leading that team. This is Martina Satkova. She won yesterday. It was a big margin, and her individual time yesterday was 12 minutes 42, so a sub 13. So she's leading. Her team was Anetska Paludova. She came 7th yesterday, and Barbora Dimovova, she came sixth. So a very strong team indeed.
Yes, it would be a very big surprise if they wouldn't finish first. They are reigning world champion in the team as well, and you named it. So they are the last paddler is just on 7th place. So technically they really have to win this race.
And now you probably just saw a very special start. Satkova, she does not present herself to the starter. She's waiting in the wings, and as soon as the boat at the start is released, she can go, and she gets into the flow of the fast current a bit earlier than her mates, her colleagues of the team, and she then overtakes. And as you said before, they can then save a little bit of time right off the start.
So that was the same tactical maneuver as we have seen for the British team, I guess.
Yes. So Satkova, she came out of nowhere. We haven't seen her in the picture. That's why she was waiting a bit closer to the main current and then was able to overtake. And she's now leading her team, and the Czech Republic is the favorite in this women team classic event. We're waiting now here at the bottom. We have all the teams on the course in this category. We'll probably have about five minutes to go, and then we should see the first team, the Italians, coming into the last very, very tricky course.
Yes, and they will be followed by the Swiss team 2 minutes later. The interval is 2 minutes, yes. So
that's correct, yes. So we are at the bottom here, and you see on the screen, this gives us the time for the Swiss team. They're just about hitting the 12 minutes mark. Just as a reference, we had Satkova yesterday at 12:42. What's about the water level today, Matthias?
the water level today is more or less the same as yesterday. It's not regulated here properly, so it's hard to say if there is 1 cubic more or less, but it's not a big difference, of course.
Which means we would expect similar times to yesterday.
Yes, so it's a good thing to compare the time of the last boat, of let's say of the weakest athlete with the time of the team at the end. And
sorry, I have to interrupt you. Let's not miss the Swiss team. The Swiss team is just entering the rock, the Muota rock, led by Melanie Mattis. And then we have the legend of Swiss downriver sports, Sabine Eichenberger, in second position. This is now the Muota rock here.
Oh, that was not that good. They were too close. Sabine had a small technical mistake and they hit their boats a little bit together, but I think they kept it more or less on the right line.
They recovered well. Yeah, they were a bit too close together approaching the Muota rock, and then if one of the paddler has a problem, you're punished straight away. But they seem to be really, really good here now.
Yes, now it comes to the finish, and Hanna Müller at the very end, she will try to overtake her teammate Sabine to save some time.
So this is the finish of this first team that we have down here, the Swiss, with Melanie Mattis, Hanna Müller and Sabine Eichenberger in a time just around 13:30. Yeah, didn't stop, but it was pretty much 13 and a half minutes.
So what was the time of Hanna Müller yesterday?
So that's a good question. We'll find out. So while we see all the spectators coming on in, lots of supporters from the French team, Matthias will check the results from yesterday. He does a bit of homework, gives us an idea of the times we got yesterday to just do a bit of a comparison. It seems that water levels are very similar to yesterday. We had no rain, not like other regions in Switzerland, no rain yesterday, and as Matthias said, it's a natural river. It's fed by snow melt and rain, no rain, so we have very similar, very fair conditions, ideal water level.
Yes, so I just did my homework. So Hanna Müller, she had a time of 13 minutes and 12 seconds yesterday, and now the team finished in
13 and a half, so they're about 15 seconds slower than yesterday.
Yes.
How would you interpret that?
Yeah, so I mean, at the end they had Sabine in the team, and she is hard to estimate. So she was not competing in the kayak event. People are saying at the moment the level of Sabine and Hanna is very close. So yes, the time is good. I think it's quite close from the individuals. From
very
Hanna.
good. Let's see. Thanks very much. You did your homework very well. We're waiting down here with the spectators on the riverbank. What a beautiful day out here in sunny Muotathal, where the Swiss Canoe Federation, after 45 years, organizes again a senior world championships. So we're waiting for more women team, and in the meantime the next category is preparing on the start line. We have the Slovak team in the C1. And here we go, back to the women K1. That's the team from Japan. They just started behind the Swiss. How are they doing?
Yeah, it's not looking that good. Actually, her boat is looking in the upstream direction. That's normally not the aim in a downriver race.
That's nicely put. Thank you, Matthias. It's a little trouble. You know, when they get through nice and easy, it looks like nothing, but it is a very, very difficult stretch. It is about getting the lines right. You need to be very precise, and those athletes are tired after 14, 15 minutes of paddling.
Yeah, so it's very difficult to keep those boats in a straight direction all the time. You have currents, and they can pull your boat in the wrong direction very easily.
Thank you very much. So that is the Japanese trio completing the course. Just a reminder, we had the Swiss at 13 minutes and 30 seconds, and the Japanese will stay behind. That means the Swiss will probably stay, so it's about 15 minutes. There seems to be some technical issues. We'll deliver you results as soon as we can. So it looks like Switzerland is in the lead ahead of Japan, and we're waiting for the Brits down in the finish line.
Yes, the British team will set the first mark for the Swiss team to really have a comparison how well they finished, and I think it will be a battle between Germany and France and Switzerland for the ranks 2 to 4 at the end.
Yes. Spectators, they turned up. It is not, we were thinking, well, it's a work day in Switzerland, nobody will come, but I see, it seems we have some people here, families, on a day out.
So they ditched school today, you think?
I don't know. I think they don't go to school. They were very young children, so it's all legal. Okay. Well, we're back at the start. The team from Spain in the C1. So this is the canoe. What's the difference between a canoe and a kayak? I mean, we might have a few spectators out there. They see that for the first time. Welcome. A little intro from Matthias. You know, this is C1, canoe single, and we just saw kayaks before.
Yeah, so one thing is obvious, you can see it. They are working with just a single paddle, and
so maybe we just interrupt that here. We come back with the difference. So we have the Brits here. Just as a reminder, the Swiss finished in 13 and a half minutes, and the Brits are up at close to 15. That seems like the Swiss will stay. But how are they doing, Matthias?
Looks good.
That looks
right now
like the. Is that the German team?
That's.
I think I saw a German flag. I see German flags. Yes, we see Sabine Fusser. Okay. So this is the German team. So they must have overtaken the Brits.
Yes, and they come in with a good time. They'll be close to Switzerland.
So that's the German team with Alke Overbeck, Lisa Köstle und Sabine Fusser. Just crossing the line. Be interesting to see where that puts them. So we have and their point 0.03 of a second behind the Swiss. So current leaderboard: Switzerland, Germany, Japan.
So if this time is really official, it would be a great day again for Switzerland.
Well, that will be another medal for the Swiss team. We have 2 teams to go. We've got the French and the Czech. So unofficially at the moment in the lead, Switzerland, Germany, Japan, while we see another team, the Great Britain team, at the start of their C1 event.
Yes, and maybe we can come back to this chapter where I was explaining the difference between the kayaks and the canoes.
Well, I think we need to interrupt that again. We come back. Really good. Thank you very much. We've got the French near the Muota Rock. All 3 just past the Muota Rock. They look good. This is a team of Claire Brun, Charlène Lecoirvoisier and Manon Ostens. So Manon was 2nd yesterday, Claire Brun 5th yesterday. So this is the final challenge here, and they seem to be on a good line.
Yeah, that looks perfect. That's how a team should look like. It was technically properly done, and
the gaps between the boats were just about perfect.
They were just right. And now the last paddler, she accelerates. She's normally the best sprinter at the very end, and she saves time at the end.
She can wave ride a bit, the one in front, and then accelerate and even overtake. So we don't have the time at the moment. We'll deliver that. We still have the Swiss ahead of the Germans, and we're waiting for the big favorite. The Czech was led by the new world champion crowned yesterday, Martina Sáčková. Martina Sáčková leading the Czech team. While we see the Italians in the start pool. And here we go. That's the new world champion, Sáčková Martina, the Czech team. They have a bit of a gap because they come into that difficult last Muota Rock section.
Yes, so Martina, she accelerated a bit to be ahead of her teammates, to not interfere with them. And the second and the third boat, they're a bit more close.
But that looked okay. No collisions. Sáčková, by far the strongest yesterday, made a bit of a gap to allow the paddlers in the back to sort of focus on their individual performance.
Yes, exactly. So in this section, it is not very important to benefit of the wave from the boat in front. It's just important to not interfere with each other.
Just a reminder, the time of the Swiss was 13.5. That looks like they just beat them by probably about 15 seconds.
Yes, it's not that surprising.
Yes, they came in as the big favorite, and it looks like they come in at about 13 minutes and 10 seconds. For some reasons on our screen the clock doesn't stop, but they go into the lead. You see Czech, France, Switzerland. So the new, unofficially the world champion in the team event, K1 women, Czech Republic, in a time of 13:09.49, 9 seconds down the team from France, and 21 seconds down in bronze medal position Switzerland. Of course, it is an official result. How good would that be for the Swiss?
I think it's a great race for them.
That's a very good race for the Swiss. Another bronze medal for the Swiss team. So that is a great result.
Absolutely. So they were third place. It was very, very close, and at the moment it looks that they really made this place. It was hard. It was almost impossible to be in front of France and the Czechs, but it's
being in front of the Germans. That seems to be
that was the big
top
battle.
result.
Yes.
And how good is that for Sabine Eichenberger? It looks like after such a long career of canoeing, she's an Olympic silver medalist from 1996, a multiple world and European champion. How will she feel about winning a medal with her team today?
I think it's a perfect end of a career to end with the new generation, or let's say it's maybe not the next generation. It's the
even the generation after. I mean, we might say it. You know, Sabine will turn 50 in September, and so there's even 2 generations after her that are already paddling. So that must be very satisfying for her to be on the podium together with her colleagues. And the thing is, she didn't paddle in the K1 yesterday. She paddled in the C1 today in the K1. That makes it even sweeter.
Yes, I think that's a big achievement if you can switch the boat category that fast, and you just sit into the other boat and you race for a medal and you win a medal at the end.
Just absolute class. And from the commentary box, congratulations to Sabine on an outstanding career and to the medal today. And congratulations to the winners of the medals, the Czech Republic, and we have a double world champion, individual and classic, Martina Satkova, silver medal to France and bronze to Switzerland. Let's focus on the next class. We move straight into the men C1 team, the canoe single, and you said obviously they're single bladed, kayaks are double bladed. Is there another difference?
Yeah, so one thing you cannot see that easily, they are kneeling, the canoers, they are not sitting as the kayakers. The canoe is also a little bit different from the kayak. The canoe is a bit shorter, it's a bit wider, and I think it's 1 kilogram heavier than the kayak. So there is a geometrical difference. Let's say it like
different boat specification. So we have got the C1, and a surprise, it's the Czech coming at the end, but the French team that we just saw at the start line is the penultimate team that we saw in the start. The last 3 teams here is Germany, France, Czech. That would be, if it goes to paper, that will be the top 3. But the Swiss, they actually just showed that you can be first off or second off, and you can still go into the medal. What about the Swiss team here? They came off 3rd. Is there a chance they would surprise in this class as well? What would you expect?
Yeah, to me it would be a much bigger surprise than what the ladies did in the kayak. They have a very young team, so I don't think that they are really amongst the favorites for this race.
Let's see, not as a favorite on paper, but it is disputed on the water, and who crosses the finish line first will be the winner. We'll see. So, in the start position, waiting for the race, the favorite for this race, and if you just look on the paper, we have Ondrej Rolling, the new world champion, first yesterday. We have Marek Riegel, bronze medalist yesterday, and we have Antonin Hales, fourth yesterday. So first, third and fourth yesterday. I mean, if they are not the favorite by millions, then, you know, what needs to happen that they don't win that gold medal?
Yeah, at the end it's still sports. It's still a sport where a lot of unprecedented things can happen. You have seen how the Japanese, they took this upstream gate at the very end, so it can happen to everyone here. So everyone, I think, has done some technical mistake here, and this costs you really a lot of time.
Absolutely. So it's not over until the fat lady sings, as they say in England. We have the first team in C1, the team from the Slovak Republic at the Muota Rock, and looking river left from downstream. You want to come on the left side, right side from our point of view. They all got that pretty well, it seems.
Yes, I think it's again a great team performance. The first paddler is a bit ahead to make space for the second paddler, and the third one is just behind to be close at the finish line at the end.
And they got that final challenging wavy stoppery bit very, very well, and about 200 meters to cross the line, and we'll get the first time, the first benchmark for the canoe single men. with Ladislav Danik, Martin Medvedev and Matej Benoš. An interesting paddler, Matej Benoš, the third here, is the Olympic silver medalist in the slalom discipline. And they come down just under 14 minutes. That's the first benchmark. So Matej Benoš, the third boat here, he's the Olympic silver medalist from Rio, but in the slalom discipline. And he has shown last year when he medaled in the sprint event that he is actually a very good downriver paddler.
Yes, I think he is in the scene, in the downriver scene already for a long time. He is one of the, let's say, last paddlers who is really doing both disciplines, and he is successful in both disciplines. That's a big achievement. Very
interesting and very different to 45 years ago, when Muotathal has seen the last Senior World Championships, and at the time it was the Senior Worlds for slalom and for downriver, and at the time lots of athletes did both. I can remember I was a little kid and came and watched, and was my dad, and my dad was a paddler, and everybody was doing both. So this becoming a specialist in only one discipline, that only happened over the last 10-20 years.
Yes, I think in my generation that separation that was already a fact. So people were not competing in both disciplines in general. Yeah, you see there are exceptions, and they can be successful athletes in both disciplines.
It's very, very good to see. So that's Matej Benoš, who just crossed the finish line in just under 14 minutes. We've got the Spanish team. Bienvenido, España, Spanish team. The three C1s with Alan Padilla, Manuel Freire and Rodrigo Ramos Collado. Around the Muota Rock. They seem to be a bit further apart. No, it looks like we've got two teams fighting around the Muota Rock.
So is that already the next team?
Is that the Swiss team already here? Or even the... Let's see. This is BIP 9. That is the Spanish here. Apologies for the confusion, but we are on the Spanish team here. Yes. So just over 14 minutes. That means they will stay behind the Slovaks. The Slovaks that came in just under 14 minutes. 14.5 minutes, about 30 seconds down on the team from Slovakia. We're waiting for the Swiss, and we have the official result for the Slovaks and the Spanish. 13:49 is the current lead, Slovak team, and Spain in second, 43 seconds down. And the Swiss team, led by, it was Fabio Gretener, but he must have been overtaken. It is one of the Müller brothers in front, and Jona Müller, with the big Swiss flag on the back of his boat, is in a third position. Just a reminder, just under 14 minutes for the Slovaks, so they're doing very, very well. And as Matthias said, they're not favourites. Now we have difficulties down here. Eddied out. What happened here? He caught the eddy and did a bit of an upstream position.
Yes, that's not really a fast maneuver, and you have a lot of these eddies around the Muota Rock, and you have to get close to the water, and sometimes it's just a matter of centimeters if you're actually getting the upstream position, or if you get through the fastest line.
And these boats are very hard to maneuver. You saw he's now finally back. He is safe, and the colleagues are waiting. They need to cross the line within 10 seconds. That's the rule. Otherwise you're disqualified, and they cross the line now. So a bit of difficulties at the end, and lost valuable time, about 14.5 minutes for the Swiss team. They go into second place, lost 34 seconds. Without that little accident, they would probably challenge the Slovak team.
Yes, 30 seconds is a lot of time, so I have my doubts if it would have been really, if it was really game-changing in terms of the ranking. But of course they were losing around 15-20 seconds.
Mattia Quintarelli, Paolo Razzauti, Giorgio Dell'Agostino, the Italian team in the last tricky section. Lots of waves, lots of stoppers, and you want to be clean. You don't want to be hit by these big waves. As soon as you have water on your chest, that slows you down and you have to re-accelerate. So the time currently to beat is 13:49. So they will be challenging now. They're challenging the Slovaks.
Yes, that looks good for Italian paddlers, I think.
Very good, very close together, very good teamwork, and we have a new leader. We don't see the time, but yes, we have a new leader. 13:36, just under 13 seconds ahead. Italy first, Slovakia second, Switzerland third. And we've got 3 teams to go, the big 3 nations, Germany, France, Czech Republic. You will not lose any actions. We'll be back in the finish area. These are just a few impressions from the start. This is the next class getting ready, the K1 man in the start area. We'll go back to the C1 action, to the decision in this C1 team event. And the first team of the trio, the 3 nations to come, the Germans. Looking good at the Muota.
Yes, they have some paddlers who are in the team for a long time already. They know this river maybe even from the World Cup in 2004. So they know where the fast line is on this course.
Well, and talking to the Swiss head coach a few days ago, he said that we organized a selection together with the Germans about a month ago. So these guys seem to know that course very, very well.
Absolutely. So they will have around 40-50 test runs on this course before this race.
And the time to beat 13:36. That looks like a new lead. As expected, very, very good teamwork by Germany, and a time of about 13:20. That is unofficially the new lead, Germany, with Norman Weber, Tim Heilinger and Janosch Sulzer.
So they booked their medal already, so there are 2 teams coming now. So Germany is on the podium.
So Germany definitely on the podium. They missed it in the women K1. That would be their first medal of the day.
Yes. So they were behind Switzerland just by 300ths of a second. I think I have never seen such a close game in the team event.
In a team event, and
it's not a sprint event.
Yes, and it's separated after 13-14 minutes of racing in a very difficult whitewater event. So the difference between a medal and a no medal, 300ths of a second. So they definitely booked the medal, the Germans. Worst case is bronze, and we've got the French now fighting and kicking them out, the Germans, from the gold medal position. The French with Louis Lapointe, Tony Debray and Nicolas Sauteur. And like the Germans, very solid around the Muota. Very, very solid. They very good yesterday. Louis Lapointe, the leader, he came second. Tony Debray was 11th and 13th for Sauteur. And they didn't only C1, they all came later yesterday and did it in the C2 as well. So the time they have to beat is about 13:20. This could be very, very tight. That is very tight to beat the Germans.
So Germany did really a perfect race.
It looks like
so
on
they
paper.
They will finish second, France now.
So that looks like Germany stays on top. And the French go probably into second position. Here we go. We have the Germans in the lead. We're still waiting for the results of the French. It's Germany, Italy, Slovakia, and Switzerland this time off the podium. Yes, here we have the confirmation. The leader unofficially, the Germans, they stay up there, 11 seconds ahead of France, Italy third, one team to go. Czech Republic, Ondřej Rolling, world champion, crowned world champion yesterday in the individual event. Marek Riegel, third yesterday. Anthony Hales, fourth yesterday. So if they don't win today, then they must have done something wrong. We see the Serbian K1 team here just off the start. And here we go, the Czechs. How do they do the mortar rock?
The big favorite is already here. 12, 25, 26. Yeah, that looks like they will finish maybe just around 13 minutes.
And all three around the mortar rock without any trouble, no sweat at all. Approaching that last section, led by their world champion, newly crowned world champion in the individual event, Ondřej Rolling, a multiple world champion, a dominator in the C1 category from the Czech Republic. The time to beat will be very, very tight.
Yeah, you're right.
It's a very tight fight with the Germans. We wait for that time. It is very, very tight finish, very tight between the Germans. It looks like they just made it. 3.5 seconds, unofficially, world champion, Czech Republic, silver medal, Germany, and into bronze, France. Italy 4, Slovakia 5, Switzerland 6, and Spain in 7th. So, as it said on the paper, the Czechs, the big favorite, they will get gold, and they did.
They did, but it was close, and it was far closer than anyone would have expected. So the Germans, I think they did a perfect team race. The third German paddler, he is very close from the third French paddler, of course, but they really put a big gap in between them and France. So Germany, they did a very, very strong team performance today.
And it looks like they had a perfect race.
Yes. Unfortunately, we don't see all the pictures. I don't know if the Czechs they had maybe some mistake. We will find it out.
And as you said in the commentary before, you know, lots can happen, and even if you're a world champion, a highly decorated paddler, I mean, a little error, a little mistake, and it's costly.
Yes, it can be something like this, but it can also just be a great team performance of Germany in terms of that they stayed close together in the section where you have a lot of waves, and they could really save energy for their weakest paddler, and like this they could come that close to the Czech team.
So congratulations from the commentary box to the medal-winning teams. We have a world champion, the Czech Republic, and the silver for the Germans, and French team into third position. So there's no time for a breather. We're straight into the next class. This is the next class, the final class before lunch. So we have the K1 man classic event. 15 teams at the start, and here on paper the big favorites, the French team, and then here the Slovenians. We haven't seen Slovenia yet, but in the main K1 class they seem to be a force.
Yes, Slovenia, you should have them on your
radar.
On your radar, of course. You should put them always in mind.
So a very good, a very strong nation, and they are on the start line today with bib 14, and the team from Slovenia, bib 14, is led by the new world champion, Simon Oven, and he leads Nej Snidarčić and Ance Urankar. So Slovenia in the penultimate team definitely a team in good shape. They have, if we look at the results, if we stay for a little minute on the Slovenes, their third boat, the slowest boat, he was 15th, and the French boat, the lowest ranked boat, was 7th. So that almost looks like it's a race between those two boats.
Yes, so I think the French boat with this weakest paddler on place 7, they look like the big favorites again, and maybe we will see again a battle more in between the Slovenia and Czech Republic for the silver medal place, and Germany, they are strong as well. So from if we do the mathematics, we could expect that the Slovenians are not on the podium, because the weakest Czech and German boat, they are ranked before the weak Slovenian boat.
Let's see, and we did maths before, and sometimes we were right and sometimes we were not right at all. So that's a nice thing about sport, isn't it? So let's go into the K1 class. We know the favorite, that is France, but we know, and we've seen that this morning already, it is only over when really everybody crosses the line, and making errors is so easy. So this is the team from Great Britain on the start. They race with Nicky Cresser, that's the lead, Robert Jeffries and Jacob Holmes. Nicky Cresser in the top 10 yesterday, 9th. He said I was better, closer to the lead as I was last year, so he, in times of performance, he was pretty happy when I talked to him last night. 9th, well, he thought that's not quite 7th like last year, but he seemed pretty happy. And the fact is, Nicky Cresser in the afternoon raced again in the Masters class, and he again did almost a similar result. So a fantastic achievement, racing that course twice in a day in an individual event.
Yes, it's a big performance. It's a very tough river, even so it's just a racing time of around 13 minutes. It's very exhausting, this river, with these short choppy waves, and if you do it twice a day, maybe you get weak for the team race. Let's see how they will perform today.
Yes, so very good Nicky Cresser, and we take the opportunity to salute from here his brother Darren Cresser at home, recovering from an accident. So from this point here, all the best to Darren. If you listen to us, all the best. We send you loads of energy from sunny central Switzerland.
So Darren, he is a slalom paddler, you know.
Darren was a slalom paddler and the coach, and he's recovering. So yes, back to the race from the Brits. From the Brits to the Southern Europe, to Spain. We've got the Spanish team with 3 very exotic names: Guillermo Fidalgo de León, Jesus Rodriguez León, and Sergio Ruiz Paz are the 3 K1s from Spain. They must have ideal conditions in the Pyrenees.
Yes, they have a great river there. They were hosting the World Championships in 2010, so I think they will host again the World Championships in sprint in Laseo. So they have perfect conditions for classical training, classic race training, and for sprint training.
So for classic racing on the Rio Noguera, and for the sprint they can use the Olympic venue from 1992, so it seems ideal. Spectators still with us. We can see Czech flags, Czech Republic. All the teams not only come with athletes, but they all come with coaches.
Yes, needs a lot of staff around such a team. You need persons who are supporting the team in terms of telling them the right lines, taking video material during the training courses to analyze where the fastest lines are. Need persons during the race to tell them intermediate times. That's what you normally do. You need physiotherapists. It's a big staff around such a team.
Lots of staff supporting and finding out what are the quickest, the safest and quickest lines on the river. And while we talk about getting the lines right, we've got the Swiss team on the course. What can you tell us about those guys? Do you know them personally? I mean, you've stopped paddling about 10 years ago. Do you still know them?
I know them, of course, because I still keep involved in canoeing in Switzerland. They are young paddlers. I was never really competing against them when I was in shape. So it's it's a new generation. I think the team senior, to maybe not misunderstand this word, is Nico Meyer, but he's still a very, very young athlete. And then they have in their team, they have another paddler from the Solothurn team, and they have...
That's Robin Havely.
Robin Havely, sorry. And their third paddler is Linus Bolzen from Lucerne, and he finished on rank 12 yesterday.
Yeah, so if you say the last paddler or the third paddler, he's actually the fastest paddler. So Linus Bolzen from Lucerne, not very far from here in picturesque central Switzerland. This is the Swiss team led by Linus Bolzen with Nico Meyer and Robin Havely. And we have the Japanese team coming into the finish line. The Japanese Michiyoshi Yamane, Shogo Okuda and Otto Bungo.
Looks good for the moment. They're staying on the line, no big troubles.
All safe around the motor rock. They came around 40th, 50th yesterday in the individual, but they seem to be okay today.
Yes, they almost did it. They're
They
almost
have about 300 meters to go.
Yes,
A final acceleration for the third paddler, and the clock is actually running on him.
exactly. It's the last person who is crossing the line who is stopping the clock. So normally you put the best sprinter at the very end to catch up with the rest of the team.
So the Japanese coming in just about 14 minutes. So Japanese about 14 minutes. We're waiting for the results. We bring them as soon as we can, but as a bit of a marker, Japanese 14 minutes, while the Belgium team is on the course. Where do they train whitewater? Belgium. Belgium is a very flat country. Where do they practice whitewater?
I was surprised when I went to paddle in Belgium that they still have some rivers. Of course, it's not that high in terms of having the Alps and having glaciers, but they have interesting water as well, which is
comparable.
Wildwater.
Comparable, yes. So they have some mountains, they have some rivers in Belgium. We see some difficulties now here around the Muota rock for the Serbian team. They're spread out quite a bit. Just as a reminder, the time to beat 14 minutes. Set by the Japanese. This is now the third Serbian paddler. They're pretty widespread. Each of the paddlers fighting individually with the challenge that is posed by the water. And actually that Muota rock is like a big obstacle right in the middle of the river.
Yes, it's incredible how this rock can stay there in the middle of the river. And I think this stone was there already in 1973.
Of course, so the famous Muota rock. We had slalom gates around that. Let's not forget here the Serbian. That's very close. We had around 14 minutes for the Japanese. They might just beat them. Very, very close decision. The Japanese at 13:58, and it looks like Serbia just beaten by half a second. So it's Japan first, Serbia second.
So compared to the gap between Germany and Switzerland in the women's event, it's a big gap. Half a second, right?
Yes, yes. The 300s that we've seen Yeah, the Swiss women beating the German team 0.03, so the half a second is almost like a eternity. So we have the Aussies, the Aussie team from Australia. Robert McIntyre with 32nd, Alex McIntyre 36, and Kaelan Bassett 41st yesterday in the individual. But they seem to be on a good run.
Yes, and I'm sure they will cope very well with the technical obstacles here. They are normally very strong technical paddlers. And
this will definitely be a new lead. I mean, we have a lead of 13:58. They will beat that time by Japan by quite a margin. That is a new lead set by Australia, 13:10. So that's a first real benchmark.
Absolutely. I'm sure we will see again times below 13 minutes, but it's a first strong benchmark.
Yes, the benchmark set by the team from Australia, all the way from down under. And the following next teams, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Great Britain and Spain. So the time to beat currently 13 minutes and 10. So we're back at the start. We're Germany, one of the medal contenders, is about to start. That's it. The Germans with Finn Hartstein, he was 6th yesterday, Björn Beerschwenger and Nico Paufer.
Yeah, so Germany is the reigning world champion in the team event. So they won 2 years ago, but they had a bit of a generation change again in their team. So most paddlers who were in this world champion team are not in the team today. So I would say Germany is maybe not the top favorite for gold in this race.
Not the favorite for gold, but as we said, probably in there to challenge for at least a medal, for a bronze medal. But let's stay in the current, in the here and now. Bosnia just passed successfully the Muota rock right in the middle, and you have to imagine, if you have not been here and haven't seen that before, the flow, all of the water of the Muota really just flows onto that rock, and it's the challenge for the paddlers is to avoid a frontal collision with that rock.
Yes, exactly, and you still want to paddle fast. So it's almost impossible to not slow down a little bit and change a little bit gears to get around the rock.
A good time for Bosnia and Herzegovina. They don't quite beat the Aussies, but they'll go into second place with a time of about 13.5. Bosnia and Herzegovina, Darko Savic, Ane Sudic and Dusan Makic. The second place, we have the confirmation here. Australia 1, Bosnia 2nd and Japan currently in 3rd position. And we're waiting for the Brits down here in the finish line, led by Nikki Cressa. For those who only came and joined us later, absolutely ideal, excellent conditions on the Muota River in the Muotathal. The sun is out there, we can see a few clouds, we can see a little bit of snow, but it's warm down here, it's humid, everybody in shorts, t-shirts. It's really a day of summer here.
Absolutely, so even the flies are not missing. It's maybe the only thing I don't like that much in the Muotathal, and those flies are normally out if the weather gets good and they can breathe.
Yes, and I've seen more flies the last few days, more flies than I've seen in Australia. So yes, and the Aussies are in the lead, so that might have been their secret. They deal with the flies better than anyone else. This is the British team, the 3rd paddler of the British team. This is Jacob Holmes, fighting with the last stopper. He got caught a little bit and lost quite a bit of speed.
Yes, it looks like he is really tired from the section above. His arms are maybe not feeling that good right now. It's really tough at the very end here.
He is approaching that finish line. He's fighting for the 2nd place because the time of the Aussies, they don't quite make that. The lead at the moment, Australia 13-10, and they are just probably about going into second place. Here we go. Australia first, Britain was Nikki Kressa in second, and Bosnia moved down to the bronze medal position. But we've got still a lot of racing to go. There are 15 countries, so we still have eight teams to go. And the current leader from Australia, Robert McIntyre, Alex McIntyre and Kaylin Bassett. And our athletes from Spain approaching that famous rock. And yes, I can confirm, Matthias, that rock was there in 73. That rock was there in 1960. That rock has been there for quite some time. And it was always challenging and is still challenging. And as you said, you need to slow down a little bit to get the perfect line.
Yes. Interestingly, the line around the rock is always changing a bit, even so the stone is almost sitting, is always sitting in the same position, but the lines, it changed a little bit. So I remember when I was paddling, there were two alternative lines. You could go also on the right side at this time. So it was always
an option. Does that depend on the water level?
I think it can depend on the water level, but
I have to stop you here. The Spanish are fighting for first position. 13-10 is the first. It might just be outside. Brilliant run from the Spanish team. It looks like they are just outside gold. We're waiting for that time. They go into the lead. We have a new leader. En primer posición, el equipo de España con los señores Guillermo Fidalgo de León, Jesús Rodríguez León, and Sergio Ruiz Paz. Just in the lead now, the team from Spain.
Yeah, great performance of Spain today. Congratulations for this great team performance.
Brilliant. Just a very, very tight between the Spanish team and the Aussies. So currently in the lead in the K1 Men Classic team, Spain ahead of Australia and Great Britain in third. And the Swiss, led by Linus Bolzern.
Let's keep fingers crossed that they don't make any mistakes here down at the Muota. There
were a bit difficulties for the second paddler.
Yeah, so
he had to
Robin,
he came sideways for a moment.
He is a very young paddler, not that experienced on hard wildwater maybe, so it's very difficult for him here. But he is doing well.
Very good. What an opportunity for the young paddler in the middle of that trio, the Swiss trio. Now conquered all the difficult bits. It's about to mobilize the last energy to sprint to the finish, and the lead is just over 13 minutes. They're really challenging for the new lead.
Let's keep fingers crossed.
13:05, that could be the new leader. Let's wait and see. Here we go.
Oh.
13:05.12, new lead, Switzerland, with Linus Bolzern, Nico Meyer and Robin Haveli. Second, Spain. Third, Australia.
Great performance of Switzerland today. We have seen they were on the right line. The Robin Haveli, he was fighting a little bit, but he kept the boat going in the right direction, and that's how they saved the position.
Very good, and as you said, a very young paddler that has an opportunity to gain some very important experiences here on that world stage.
Yes, so he is 17. He can still compete in on the junior level. He's a big hope for junior world championships.
Belgium, Bram Sicken, Samuel Pipe and Leo Montule in the final approach. So the time set by the Swiss is just over 13. They're looking good, the Belgium team.
It's a perfect team performance. Both 2 and 3, they're close together, and both 1 is a bit ahead to make the space so that there is no collision.
Very good performance, it looks, and it reflected in the running time. You can see that there will be the first team under 13 minutes. The Belgium trio will go into the lead ahead of the Swiss. So the first time now that we have a team under 13 minutes. 12:37, Belgium 1, Switzerland 2, Spain 3, and there's 7 teams to go.
So now you can see that Belgium, they have very good rivers to practice, so otherwise they couldn't finish on this river in such a good rank.
Well, I mean, you could probably argue they travel a lot, or they base themselves somewhere in the Alps, but that doesn't seem to be the case for the Belgian team. They have some white water at home, and yes, it is reflected here. Without access to white water, you couldn't deliver such a performance.
Absolutely, you need your kilometers on the Wildwater. It's completely different from paddling on flat water to keep the boat straight on Wildwater, to cope with waves, to cope with technical obstacles like this big stone here, like these rocks, where you have eddies behind, sitting around everywhere, and which might lead to the big mistakes. And
Italy with Federico Urbani, Davide Maccanan and Andrea Bernardi cross the Muota rock, and they're looking like they're very, very close together, Matthias.
Yes, again, this is even closer now between boat 1 and 2. So if there is no mistake, this is the perfect strategy.
12:34 is the time to beat. 12:34. So it's Belgium against Italy. Belgium, Italy. And it looks like they could just get that 12:34. Very, very close racing. How exciting is that? And they take the lead. Italy, Belgium, Switzerland. 12:34 is the new mark. They pipped Belgium to second place, but just under 3 seconds. So the new lead, the new benchmark, Italy, 12:34. We have 4 teams to go. The big nations, Germany, Czech, France, and we have Slovenia that we talked about very soon. Slovenia with the new world champion Simon Owen. But before we go to Slovenia, we go to Germany. Germany, Finn Hartstein, 6th yesterday, Björn Beerschweiger, 21st, and Nico Paufer, 13th yesterday.
Yes, so as I was mentioning, the battle between Germany, Czech Republic and Slovenia, this will be very interesting in this race, because their number 3 paddlers, they are all very, very close from each other, so the race is completely open. If we do the mathematics, as we were saying, the mathematics are not everything, but this race is completely open.
And we seem the second boat, Nico Paufer, with a bit of difficulties around the Muota rock, and then be after that difficulties for Nico. He got through it, but they lost some valuable time. The time to beat is 12:34. That might just be enough to go into the lead, but that is definitely valuable time that they lost, and they might have to pay for that when the next 3 teams are coming down. But in the meantime, we have a new leader. Germany was 10 seconds ahead of Italy. Germany, Italy, Belgium, and we have 3 teams to go.
Yeah, let's hope that the Germans are not beaten again by 3/100ths of a second.
Well, they hope that, yeah, that's for sure. And we've got some German personnel in here, so let's be careful what we say here in the commentary box.
Yes, this can be very dangerous.
Yes, please be diplomatic. Matthias, you're Swiss, so let's stay diplomatic. And we have the Czechs with a very strong team. Adam Satke, 4th, Filip Rich, 18th, and Slepicha Karel, 14th. On paper, Beerschwenger, the third German, was 21st. Philipp Rich was 18th, so the race between them, the Czech should win it. Germany, the second paddler, had some difficulties around the Muota rock. And here we have no difficulties, it seems, for the Czech team. So they're all close together. 12:24 to beat.
Yeah, they're almost a bit too close maybe. You have to set out for one stroke.
So this is the final bit. 12:24 to beat the Germans. That is another very, very, very tight race. $12:24. That might just be it. They might have. Yes. Matthias, 0.73. Czech first, Germany second.
Yeah, it's not the day of Germany. It looks really like they are beaten again by very, very
small margin. Yes. So we still have two teams to go. It's in first position Czech Republic, Germany second, and now Slovenia with the newly crowned world champion Simon Owen leading that team from Slovenia. Nejc Narcic, the big sprint specialist, and Urankar Anze. And if we take Anze and compare him with the slowest Czech, Anze the Slovenian was 15th yesterday. The Czech, the slowest, Rich Filip, was 18th. So on paper again, Slovenia should just have the upper hand.
Yes, that's right. But we have seen Germany. Their weakest paddler was 21st.
Yes.
So that was close as well. Yeah.
Let's see. At the Muota Rock, the team from the Slovenian Federation. It seems like the easiest thing in the world, watching those world-class paddlers mastering that section around the Muota Rock. And this part here that we see isn't that easy either. Lots of waves, stoppers. You need to be very precise, and you have very, very heavy arms. A final sprint now for the third boat. And once he crosses the finish line, the time will stop, and it'll be tight again. Very tight between Slovenia and the Czech Republic. We just wait for the time. It looks like Slovenia goes into third position. We have the Czech, definitely a medal. We have the Germans, definitely a medal. And Slovenia has to wait for the French to see if they can stay on the podium. So Slovenia in bronze medal position, one team to go.
Yes, and the big favorites are still on the course. They will be just around the bridge now before the part around the Muota Rock. So I'm sure we will just get the pictures very, very soon.
So we have one team to go. France, current leader, the Slovak Republic, second Germany, third Slovenia, and the only team that can change that order is the team from France. Paul Graton, third, Paul Jean, second, and Maxence Barou, seventh yesterday. How are they doing?
Looks very controlled. I think they are not that aggressive. They are maybe not putting everything in around this Muotastein, so to make sure that there is no big mistake here. Looks like a very, very controlled run, but this can be difficult as well if you're not going with 100%.
So it is a fine line between being safe and going risky, and you see how now the last boat is fighting hard to make sure they get a bit time back. That they lost. They were a bit too close together, but that looks like that could be just enough to get the gold medal from this K1 event, and that's it. We have France in gold, Czech in silver, and the German team in bronze medal. And the difference between 1 and 2 again.
It was really not anticipated that it is that close. So the favorites today, they did it, they made it, but they were...
Well, it looks like we have the first 3 teams in 1 second, in less than a second.
Yes, the order is what we were expecting, but the differences are so much closer.
So the new world champion, the team from France with Paul Graton, Paul Jean and Maxence Bourreau. So we have in second position Germany, and in third position the Czech Republic. And we have another team. I get a signal that we have another team on the course. We have team 16. Yes, they started late. For some reason, we have one more team to go. So we just got from the director of the race the signal, wait, with the final summary. There, for some reason, seems to be the Slovak team to come. They were the second team on the course, but for some reasons they will come now. So, Matthias, just a little bit of summary before the Slovak team is coming. Exciting racing.
It was exciting, and it was fascinating how close those teams were together. It was a very close decision in the women's event. It was close in the canoe event. It was close, very close for the kayak men event.
Very, very tight racing indeed. And here they are. The race director here was correct. We have a Slovak team to come, but not to take anything away, but the time that is set by the medalist teams is not to beat. They will not beat the medal teams. That's what we can say now for sure.
Yes, so this is sure. The medals they are distributed in this men's event.
And in official results, of course, but the new world champion, the French Federation, second the team from the Czech Republic, and third the Germans. So Germany third, and that's their second medal of the day. So this is the final result. France first, Czech second, and Germany in third position. Further down, the Brits in 11th, Bosnia 12th. The Swiss team, the locals, 7th. Just a final word on the Swiss. 7th position.
I think they performed very well. It's what we could have expected from this team. So they are among the top 8. So that's a good performance, especially if we consider that their youngest paddler is still a junior. He will progress a lot in the next year. So maybe the Swiss team will perform much better in 2 or 4 years.
So thank you very much, Matthias. Thank you very much for your help, your technical support this morning. This brings the morning program to a close. We've seen some exciting racing, tight racing, hotly disputed medals in all the classes, and we're just looking forward to the program this afternoon. We will have the canoe single women team event and the canoe double team event, 3 double canoes, so 6 athletes together in one team. So there's quite a bit of excitement to come.
Absolutely, I'm looking forward to the afternoon and doing the comments again with you, Jörg. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thanks very much. I'm really looking forward to the afternoon. So from here, the Muotathal, it is a bit cloudier at the moment. It's still dry, but from ideal conditions on the Muota River for the World Championships, ICF World Championships. It's bye for now, and see you in 90 minutes. See you at 2 o'clock Central European Time.